said at your highest moment, be careful, that's when the devil comes for you.
You're not going to be unscathed, but at least you could have some type of support.
Yeah.
And so I paid for like 10 sessions, 10 of her first sessions. I said, I really want you to.
He's with my man, Charlie Mack. So Charlie was with me every step of the way. First out the limo. So Charlie has been with me, 30 years coming up in the business. So, he's surrounded by a whole lot of strength. He's surrounded by a whole lot of love. And all he has to do is add discipline, and he's going to be all right.
Tisha Campbell is done protecting Will Smith. And now she's exposing dark Illuminati-like ties linked to Will, and has been using some kind of voodoo energy to confuse young actors like Bryshere Gray, Jabari Banks, and even his own son Jamie. Now listen, before anybody jumps, the timing of this all feels obvious. And when the timing feels obvious in Hollywood, people start putting the pieces together because the story didn't just begin yesterday. It all goes back to the 90s. Back in 1996, there was this iconic photo. You've probably seen it. Will Smith, Dwayne Martin, Marlon Wayans, and Alex Thomas all grinning, young, and all on the come up. Back then, Dwayne was married to Tisha Campbell, while Will was Fresh Prince royalty. Everyone around them was chasing something huge. And for years, that cycle seemed solid. But you know what? Let's jump ahead for a second. In 2012, rumors blew up overnight that a tabloid exposed a cover story claiming Will Smith and Dwayne Martin were secretly involved in a same-sex relationship. The cover blasted a headline about the man who came between Will and Jada and Tisha. Well, she stood beside Will. On March 7th, 2012, she took to Twitter and said that she was fed up with the media going after the Smiths. She called them an amazing couple and said people should stop spreading lies. But back then she was already really standing with Will and Dwayne. But this is where things start to feel a little uncomfortable. Years later, Tisha filed for divorce in 2018. Then in 2019, she went to court and asked for a restraining order against Dwayne Martin, saying that he had been emotionally and physically abusive during their marriage. Court documents described her saying that he grabbed her arm and tried to pull her into a bedroom. And now Tisha is opening up even more, announcing her new memoir, The Word, A Mother's Journey Through Autism and Love, set to be released on September 15th. The book focuses on raising her son, diagnosed with autism at 18 months. But at first glance, the book just seems like it's about motherhood. But people online are starting to wonder, is that really all this is about? Because once you walk away from a 24-year marriage and the whole industry world that came with it, there comes a point where staying quiet just isn't possible anymore. And that's when the silence breaks. And that's when the secrets start to leak. Now, before we go any further, we need to talk about Brother Bell. The person who says he was Will Smith's personal assistant and close friend for nearly 40 years appeared on Tisha Campbell's platform and alleged that he once walked in on Will and Dwayne Martin in a sexual act.
I open the door to Dwayne's dressing room, and that's when I see Dwayne and having anal sex with Will.
Let me process that for a second. Who was on top?
It wasn't a top. There was a couch, and Will was bent over on the couch, and Dwayne was standing up, killing him. Murder. It was murder in there.
Now, Will's camp responded immediately. A spokesperson told the team the story was completely fabricated. Jada Pinkett Smith appeared on The Breakfast Club and called the claims nonsense, saying they were weighing legal action. She said it felt like an obvious attempt to cash in.
It's ridiculous, right? And it's nonsense. And this is a person that tried a money shakedown that didn't work. We're going to take legal action.
So officially, Will denied everything. But the rumor never really went away because every time Will takes a young male actor under his wing, these rumors resurface. And that's when Bryshere Gray stepped in. For sure, Justice Smollett, who rose to fame on Empire, was known to be mentored by Will early in his career.
It's like Uncle Will, who who is best to give you advice? And it's Will Smith, and I'm getting so much good advice. I got my first acting role, Empire, and it's changing my life. And it's like, I'm listening from the greatest, and it's like making me well prepared to work with Taraji.
Some old tweets and posts started questioning Will's role in his life. One deleted tweet even claimed, "Remember, Will Smith was mentoring Bryshere Gray." Was he the reason he turned gay because of what Smith allegedly exposed him to? So when Bryshere's career fell apart and Will's name was already tied to these old rumors, that's when the whispers really started. And then Jabari Banks steps into the picture. Jabari Banks is the new Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. In one interview, he said Will has been a guiding force and a light in his career. He said that they rarely talk about the character, but they talk about the industry and his career. That sounds like a good thing at first, just like, a real mentorship. But online, some people twisted it differently. They keep asking, what does industry talk really mean? And that's when people started whispering about the Illuminati. Remember the Oscar slap? Some Reddit threads claimed that the slap felt staged, like some kind of ritual. One post read, Will Smith slapping Chris Rock equals 1776. And they tried to connect it to Illuminati symbolism. Another thread called it a Freemason ritual involving Satan and witchcraft. And then there's this wedding backdrop from 1997 that some fans claim had Masonic vibes. And when Jaden began posting videos with his face painted red, people said he looked like some kind of sacrificial lamb. Some tweets even claimed that in Hollywood, actors sacrifice their firstborn sons. Good to see you. Thank you. This right here is where things started to really heat up even more. Will recently sat down on iRay's Deep End podcast and shared something real. He said, "It's such a rare gift to reach the end of everything this world offers and finally be in a place where only God remains." He talked about reaching the top of fame and realizing it wasn't enough. And when celebrities open up about feeling spiritually empty after fame, conspiracy cycles quickly twist it into selling your soul stories. Then there's this moment where Will said he actually picked up the phone and called Jay-Z and Kendrick Lamar before getting back into music, and one thing stuck with him. Don't fake your story. It's like, before I started, I made 2 phone calls. I talked to Jay, and I talked to Kendrick, and I was like, hey, I want to get back in music. And it was like, what's the advice? And Jay said, don't fake your story. I really sit with that line, don't fake your story. Feels a lot heavier when people have been talking about you nonstop for the past 20 years. And then there's the whole Willow situation. Will once told the story about promising Jay-Z that Willow would finish her Whip My Hair tour, only for her to shave her head and quit. Will later shared that in a moment he felt completely powerless. So that idea that he controls everything, even his own family, might not be true. And somehow every young male actor around him keeps getting dragged to the same rumor. There were even old claims floating around online with Orlando Brown accusing him of it, and people trying to link Will's name to the Epstein list. Break it up. What are you talking about? You as a kid. You ass. You raped me as a kid. And you raped all my kids. And you're still trying to get away with it. What do you mean? I'm sitting right here. But this is where it gets very complicated. Back in 2012, Tisha Campbell stood by Will. She stayed married to Dwayne for years after that. Then she filed for divorce. Later claims came out, and now she's putting out a memoir. Now people are starting to wonder. She used to defend Will. So is she finally done standing up for him? We don't know what's inside of her book just yet. It might be strictly about motherhood and autism. But when someone who lived inside that 90s Hollywood circle finally speaks publicly again, people listen differently, especially when that circle included Will, Dwayne, Marlon, and others. Especially when that circle has decades of rumors attached. But let's bring it back to Bryshere and Jabari. Jabari openly praises Will. Bryshere's legal issues were his own. When you combine old same-sex rumors, assistant allegations, Illuminati conspiracy threads, Oscar slap ritual theories, Jaden's symbolism debates, and Dish's shifting silence, you get a storm. And storms make people nervous. But here's the bigger question. Why does Will's name keep surviving scandal after scandal? He survived the 2012 rumor. He survived the entanglement with August Sena. He survived the Oscar slap. He survived assault allegations. He survived conspiracy cycles. Every time he denies it, threatens illegal action, and moves forward. That's Hollywood power. Or maybe it's resilience. But when someone survives that much, people start calling it supernatural. And that's clearly why people started calling it voodoo. So maybe the real question isn't even, did they use voodoo? Maybe it's this instead. Why does Hollywood power always seem so mysterious that people start to question it? And why is it that the same names keep popping up every time people start connecting the dots? Is Will simply a powerful star with real flaws trying to figure out life under constant spotlight pressure? Or is he a symbol of a deeper industry machine that confuses and shapes young actors in ways we don't fully see? Now, as we wait for Tisha's book, one thing's for sure, two things are for certain. The protection era might be over. And if she decides to open up more about that 90s circle of Hollywood, people won't just sit back and stay quiet. So, I want to know what you think about this. Is this just recycled rumor culture? Or does Hollywood have patterns we're still pretending not to see? Because if mentorship turns into manipulation, that's one story. But if mentorship is just mentorship and the internet keeps twisting it, that's a different story. Either way, the timing feels loud. And when timing gets loud in Hollywood, something usually follows. So, we'll be watching September 15th very closely.